Okay, so let's imagine. It's the year 2030, and you're Alice. Early 20s. A real Gen Zer.
Okay.
And your morning doesn't start with some blaring alarm clock. No, you've got a personalized AI assistant
Right.
waking you up, like at the optimal point in your sleep cycle, all that. Heading to class.
Yeah.
No need for those heavy textbooks anymore.
Right.
You've got your AI tutor, preps a nice, concise summary of the day's lesson,
Yeah.
hits all your learning weak points,
Oh, wow.
and then later, you're scrolling through TikTok, Netflix, all feeding you these algorithmically curated entertainment streams. Sounds pretty good, right?
Right. I mean, what's so fascinating about that scenario is, it's not some far-off fantasy.
Right.
For Gen Z, it's already happening.
That's what we're diving into today. We've got a whole stack of research articles here exploring this really intricate relationship between Gen Z and artificial intelligence. And, Gen Z is really unique.
Yeah.
Because they're the first generation to grow up fully immersed in this AI-powered world.
Right.
I mean, is this a utopia with personalized learning, the creative tools at their fingertips?
Yeah.
Or is this the beginning of some dystopia
Right.
with algorithmic control and job displacement looming over everyone's heads?
Yeah, I think that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think to really grasp the implications of all this, we need to start with understanding how deeply embedded AI already is in Gen Z's lives. We're not just talking about, the latest gadgets or anything like that. It's the everyday interactions.
Yeah.
Think about the algorithms that curate your TikTok feed,
Right.
Instagram feeds, the recommendations you get on Spotify and Netflix, or, even using ChatGPT to help with your homework.
Right.
I mean, these are all powered by AI.
Right.
Often working behind the scenes.
Yeah, and it's almost like we've become so accustomed to these technologies that we kind of forget that there's, all this complex AI driving all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever felt like Spotify is reading your mind with its recommendations?
Yeah.
It's a little freaky, but also incredibly convenient.
Yeah, I think that duality is really key to understanding this relationship. A 2024 McKinsey study found that a staggering 78% of 16 to 24-year-olds
Wow.
use AI-powered technology every single day,
Wow.
often without even realizing it.
They're practically fluent in AI, but are they just passively accepting it?
Right.
I feel like I've seen some skepticism from Gen Z as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a Harvard Business Review article we have here that highlights that 63% of young adults
Okay.
are actually worried about how companies use their data. They're concerned about data privacy,
Right.
potential for manipulation
Right.
by algorithms,
Yeah.
and of course what it all means for the future of work.
Right.
One story that I think really illustrates this is a 21-year-old marketing student named Samir. He loves all the personalized recommendations he gets, but it's made him question, if he's genuinely making his own choices anymore,
Right.
or if the algorithm is subtly influencing him.
Yeah, that is a little unsettling when you think about it.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to unpack Samir's dilemma a bit later. But
Yes.
first, let's turn our attention to education, because AI is transforming learning as we know it.
It is.
I mean, imagine a world where Khan Academy has AI tutors,
Right.
tailoring lessons
Yeah.
to each student's specific needs, and where platforms like ChatGPT and Socratic can just provide instant explanations for complex concepts. And imagine you could use Google Lens to solve a math problem in real time.
Wow.
Just by pointing your phone at it. I mean, this is the reality of AI in education.
And what's so interesting about that is that this aligns so well with Gen Z's learning style.
Right.
They are digital natives.
Yeah.
They've grown up with
Yeah.
instant information and feedback,
Oh, yeah.
and they expect on-demand access to knowledge.
Yeah.
And AI-powered tools are just catering to that perfectly.
Yeah, and it's mind-boggling when you consider that. 72% of students, now, according to Statista, are using ChatGPT for homework at least once a week. That's a massive shift to how students learn.
It is. But I mean,
Does this spell the end of teachers as we know them?
well, I think that's the big question. And it's, it's one that sparked a lot of debate.
Yeah.
What's often overlooked, I think, is the potential for AI to empower teachers rather than replace them. I think about it. AI can automate tedious tasks like grading, lesson planning. So that frees up teachers to focus on what they do best, which is building relationships with students, providing personalized guidance,
fostering critical thinking.
So it's not like a robotic takeover. It's more of a collaboration between teachers and AI.
Exactly.
That's a much more optimistic way to look at it.
It is.
But surely there are still potential downsides, right? I mean, especially with students relying so heavily on AI for learning.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we can't ignore those potential pitfalls.
Yeah.
And one story that highlights this, I think, is Alice. She's a 19-year-old computer science student.
Okay.
And, while she enjoys the convenience of using ChatGPT for assignments, she's found herself relying on it a bit too much, almost to the point where she's not thinking as critically as she used to.
Right.
And it raises a crucial question, If we let AI do our thinking for us, are we truly learning?
Right.
Or are we just becoming passive consumers of information?
That's a sobering thought.
It is. And it makes me wonder if over-reliance on AI in education could lead to a lack of originality and critical thinking. I mean, could we be creating a generation that's not as capable of solving problems independently? So I think we'll need to explore Alice's story further to really understand those implications. But for now, let's shift our focus to, I think, the elephant in the room here, which is the future of work. I mean, the World Economic Forum. They made a pretty stark prediction that AI is going to displace a staggering 85 million jobs by 2025.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a daunting statistic.
It's a daunting statistic, but I think it's important to remember that it's only one side of the story.
Right.
While AI is undoubtedly automating routine tasks and displacing certain jobs, it's also creating entirely new fields and opportunities. I mean, we're talking about roles like AI generative engineers, AI ethicists, cybersecurity analysts, and countless other roles that didn't even exist a few years ago.
So while some jobs are disappearing, others are emerging. It's almost like we're seeing this reshuffling of the entire job market.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like adaptability and a willingness to learn new skills are going to be really important in this new landscape.
Absolutely. And that's where Claire's story comes in. She's a 23-year-old. And she sees AI not as a threat, but as a catalyst for opportunity. She's actively learning about AI, honing her skills, networking with people in these emerging fields. She's taking ownership of his future in this AI-driven world. And her story just highlights the importance of being proactive and adaptable.
That's a great example of how, Gen Z, they're not just passively waiting to see what happens. They're actively shaping their own destinies in this evolving landscape.
Exactly.
But before we get too deep into the future of work, I think we should address something that's affecting all of us right now, which is, subtle ways AI is shaping our consumption habits. It makes you wonder, are we becoming slaves to the algorithm? Are we truly in control of our choices anymore?
Right. Yeah, it's a question I think we all kind of need to grapple with. AI's influence, it extends, far beyond just suggesting what to watch or listen to. It's shaping our preferences in really profound ways, and often without us even realizing it.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea a little bit further. We were talking about Samir earlier, that marketing student who is, he's starting to question the influence of algorithms on his choices. What's his story all about?
So Samir, I think he's a perfect example of someone who is, both benefiting from and questioning the power of AI. He loves how Spotify curates these playlists that it seems to just perfectly match his mood, and how TikTok always seems to know what will make him laugh. But he's also aware that these platforms are designed to keep him engaged, to keep him clicking and consuming, and it's made him wonder if he's truly in control of his his own tastes, his own preferences, or if the algorithm is subtly nudging him in certain directions.
The algorithms is puppet master, playing with our desires, and we don't even realize it's happening.
Right. And I think that's the danger of what we call, filter bubbles. These are online environments
Right.
where we're only exposed to, information and content that aligns with our existing views and preferences.
Right.
It's like being trapped in an echo chamber where everyone agrees with you, which, maybe sounds appealing at first, but ultimately, limits your exposure to diverse perspectives and critical thinking.
So you're telling me that by tailoring our, online experiences to our individual preferences, AI could actually be narrowing our worldviews.
Yeah, that's the paradox. And it's not just limited to, our entertainment choices either.
Right.
Filter bubbles can impact everything from the news we consume to the people we interact with online.
Right.
They can reinforce biases, create divisions, make it much harder to engage in meaningful dialogue and understand different perspectives.
Wow, I hadn't thought about it that way before. So it makes you question whether these hyper-personalized experiences are actually, serving us in the long run.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about Samir and the subtle ways AI can influence our choices. But what about Alice, the computer science student who has become maybe a little too reliant on ChatGPT for her schoolwork?
Right.
What are the potential consequences of that kind of over-reliance?
Well, I think, Alice's story, it's a bit of a cautionary tale about the potential for AI.
Totally not.
Critical thinking. She's a bright student, but, she's become so accustomed to ChatGPT, just providing the answers that she stopped, pushing herself to grapple with difficult concepts or come up with original solutions.
It's like she's trading convenience for genuine understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about academic performance either.
Right.
I mean, critical thinking is a fundamental skill.
Yeah.
We need that to navigate this complex world, to solve problems, to innovate, to make informed decisions.
Right.
And if we outsource, that thinking to AI, we risk becoming, just passive consumers of information rather than active learners and thinkers.
So it's not just students cheating on their homework, it's potentially stunting their intellectual growth.
Development. Yeah, I think that's the core issue. And it's something we all kind of need to be mindful of as AI becomes increasingly integrated into our lives. We need to find that balance between using AI as a tool to enhance our learning and relying on it to the point where it undermines our own cognitive abilities.
Right. It sounds like we need to be more intentional about how we use AI, both in education and in our everyday lives.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's shift gears now and talk about Clara.
Okay.
She's the one who's embracing the future of work with open arms. What sets her apart from the others?
Well, what I find inspiring about Clara is, she understands that the job market is in a state of constant evolution.
Right.
She's actively preparing for it.
Yeah.
Instead of fearing AI as this job-stealing monster, she sees it as an opportunity to learn new skills and explore emerging fields.
Right.
She's taking courses on AI, networking with people in the industry, building a portfolio. That showcases, her adaptability and willingness to learn.
So she's not waiting for the future to happen to her.
That's
she's
right.
actively shaping it.
Yeah.
That's a really empowering perspective.
It is, and it highlights, the importance of lifelong learning in this, rapidly changing landscape.
Right.
I mean, the skills that are in demand today might be obsolete tomorrow.
Right.
The key is to be adaptable, curious, willing to embrace new challenges.
Right.
I think AI is almost forcing us to become lifelong learners, whether we like it or not.
It doesn't have to be a scary thing, though, right?
Exactly.
There's also the potential for AI to unlock incredible new opportunities and help us solve
absolutely
some of the world's most pressing problems.
Absolutely. And I think Clara is
a
shining example of that. She's excited about the potential of AI to improve healthcare, to address climate change, to create a more equitable world. She sees it as a tool for positive change. And that's a perspective I think we need more of.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we've talked about Samir's struggle with choice, Alice's crisis of critical thinking, and Clara's bold embrace of the future.
Right.
But we have one more story to explore. Julian,
Okay.
the graphic designer who's wrestling with the role
Yep.
of the artist in this AI-powered world.
Yeah.
What are his concerns?
Well, I think Julian represents, a growing number of
Mm-hmm.
creatives who are both excited
Mm-hmm.
and apprehensive about AI's impact on their field.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, he's amazed by the capabilities of AI image generators,
Right.
like Midjourney and DALL-E.
Right.
He can create these stunning visuals in a fraction of the time, used to take, and it's opened up all these creative possibilities that he never even thought possible.
So it's like AI is giving artists superpowers.
In a way,
Yeah.
but there's also the flip side to this.
Right.
Julian is worried
Right.
about the potential for these AI tools to devalue
Right.
artistic skill and originality.
Right.
I mean, if anyone can generate a seemingly, masterpiece
Right.
with a few clicks, what does it mean to be a skilled artist?
Yeah.
Right, the human touch,
Right.
the years of training,
Yeah.
the emotional depth that goes into creating art.
Right. It's like we're facing this fundamental shift in how we define creativity.
Yeah, I was thinking.
If AI can just replicate artistic techniques so easily, does that diminish the value of human expression?
That's a question that's being debated fiercely in creative circles.
Right.
And there's no easy answer.
Right.
Some argue that AI is simply a tool.
Right.
Like a paintbrush or a camera. And that, it's up to the artist to use it in a way that expresses their unique vision.
Right.
Others worry that AI could lead to this homogenization of art, where, everything starts to look and sound the same.
Right.
Lacking that human touch that makes art so compelling.
It's a fascinating dilemma, and one that highlights, this complex interplay between technology and human creativity.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? How do we navigate this new landscape where AI is becoming so deeply intertwined with art and creativity?
Well, I think it starts with, having open and honest conversations about these challenges like we're doing right now.
Right.
We need to explore both the potential benefits and the potential pitfalls of AI in creative fields. We need to support artists in adapting to these new technologies while also ensuring that human creativity and expression aren't lost in the process.
Right.
I'm curious what our listeners think about all this.
Yeah, me too. Have you experimented with any AI creative tools? How do you think AI will shape the future of art and creativity? These are questions that, we'll continue to explore as AI continues to evolve. But for now, let's turn our attention back to them. Those personal stories, and see what insights we can glean from their experiences. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
Algorithmic influence, future of work. I mean, even the very essence of creativity, it seems like. No aspect of our lives is really untouched by the rise of AI.
It's true.
I think what's striking to me is how Gen Z is navigating this kind of uncharted territory with a mix of enthusiasm, but also, a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
They're not afraid to embrace the convenience and personalization that AI offers, but they're also keenly aware of, the potential downsides. They're asking, those tough questions about data privacy, algorithmic bias, the impact of AI on jobs, and creativity.
Yeah, it's like they're holding a mirror up to society, forcing us to confront the implications of the technology we're creating. They're digital natives, but they're also incredibly discerning and I think thoughtful about how they engage with technology.
Absolutely. And, that brings us to those two contrasting scenarios we discussed earlier.
Right.
Will AI empower Gen Z to build a more equitable and innovative future, one where technology is used to, solve global challenges and create opportunities for all?
Or will it exacerbate existing inequalities, leading to greater social division, job displacement, and an over-reliance on algorithms that, kind of erode our autonomy and critical thinking?
It feels like we're at this really crucial turning point. I mean, the decisions we make today about, how we develop and deploy AI are going to have a profound impact on the future.
They will.
Not just for Gen Z,
right,
but for all of us.
Absolutely. And that's why, these conversations
right.
are so vital.
Right.
We need to explore these different possibilities,
right.
weigh the potential benefits and risks, and engage in a, thoughtful and nuanced dialogue about the ethical and societal implications of AI.
I mean, this isn't just a technological challenge.
No,
it's a human challenge. It's about understanding how AI is reshaping our relationships, with ourselves, with each other, with who are around us.
Absolutely. It's a challenge that requires all of us to participate.
What role do you envision for yourself in shaping the future of AI?
Right.
Will you be a passive observer?
Right.
Or will you actively engage in this conversation, advocate for responsible development, and, contribute to shaping a future where AI is used to benefit humanity as a whole?
Maybe you're, inspired to delve deeper into a particular aspect of AI that we've discussed today. Maybe you'll research a specific AI tool or attend a local event on the subject, or simply just start a conversation with friends and family about these important issues.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, this is just the beginning of a much larger conversation.
It is.
That will continue to evolve as AI itself evolves.
Right.
And the more informed and engaged we are as individuals, the better equipped we'll be to, navigate the uncharted territory and shape a future where AI is a force for good in the world. This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It's given me a lot to think about. It's clear that the relationship between Gen Z and AI is multifaceted. It's constantly evolving, and I think full of both promise and potential pitfalls.
Right.
But one thing is certain, Gen Z is at the forefront of this technological revolution.
Absolutely.
And their voices and perspectives are crucial as we navigate the uncharted waters of an AI-powered future. Thanks for joining us, and we encourage you to continue exploring this fascinating and ever-evolving topic.